All right, YouTube, this Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. We got a breaking exclusive from down at the border, Governor Abbott. We got to see what Governor Abbott is saying. I know a lot of people, they may not understand why we reporting so much on the migrant crisis because with that type of horde of people coming into our community and our society, it can collapse our society. It can collapse life as we know it. It's going to change social norms. You know what I mean? And I don't think American people signed on for it. You know what I mean? A lot of people, they get on my comments and they say we from Detroit and we signed on for it. They don't know what they talking about. You don't know what everybody in Detroit think. Stop it. You're showing your bias. A whole lot of people in Detroit know right from wrong. So what we're gonna see is we're gonna see what Governor Abbott is talking about down at that border, and you decide if he wrong or right. You decide if you agree with him as a governor. You know what I mean? Because you already know what kind of mayors you guys got. But check out this governor and what he's saying down there at the border. This fair use in the 1976 Copyright Act.
Well, all eyes on the Southwest region this morning as Texas Governor Greg Abbott is expected to make some major announcement about security.
Americans are not going to soon forget what they saw happen in New York City. Abbott has completely abdicated and abandoned his responsibility to enforce the laws of the United States.
And the U.S. House Subcommittee is set to tour the border in Arizona. More than 1 million encounters at the southern border this fiscal year. That outpaces last year's data at this exact same time. Governor Abbott to unveil some sort of plan to expand border enforcement to try to deter migrants from coming up to the Texas-Mexico border. And he's going to make this announcement alongside at least 20 state representatives in Eagle Pass, in Shelby Park, just days after more than a dozen Republican governors showed up alongside him to vow their support for Texas's mission. And as you know, Shelby Park has been the site of a tense standoff between federal agents and Texas law enforcement over who can monitor and protect the border. Abbott refusing to back down, saying Texas has the right to defend its border and calling out the Biden administration for, in his view, failing to do so. Also ordering his officers to continue to put up wire along the border, which critics say flies in the face of that recent Supreme Court ruling, which allows federal border agents to remove it to access migrants.
Once again, I want to thank all the governors who joined with us today and all the governors across the entire United States of America who are standing with the right of states to assert self-defense. In furtherance of that self-defense, Texas is the only state in the history of the United States of America to build our own border wall. Texas has deployed our National Guard who bravely stand guard night and day, and they erect these razor wire barriers. The National Guard has erected more than 100 miles of razor wire barrier that serves effectively to deny illegal entry. And they have ensured that this entire park that we are in right now will not be an area that can be used to pass anymore. This area we are in right now was at one time, not too long ago, an area where there would be 3,000, 4,000, sometimes 5,000 people crossing illegally. Now that we've taken control of this area, for the past 3 days, there's an average of only 3 people crossing illegally in this area. The point very simply is this. It shows that the state of Texas can do what the federal government is charged to do and has the tools and equipment to do. The president is obligated by laws passed by Congress to actually secure the border and deny illegal entry. Texas has shown that we can reduce it to 3 people crossing across the border. Joe Biden, it is your turn now. Your obligation, your duty to follow the law Congress passed and secure the border just as Texas has. With that, we'll take a few questions.
The only reason you don't see immigrants right now here is simply immigration. But you
basically stop everybody.
Before I start letting y'all hear the questions, I mean, how many of you out there really understand what it means, like to secure that border? You know what I mean? If that border is not secure, we'll be overran in our own communities. You know what I'm saying? And it's not about black or white. This is not the time. You know what I mean? You see a lot of people race baiting, but those people that's race baiting, they don't live in the hood. They don't live in the city. You know what I mean? They not getting targeted by migrants. Their cars not getting broken into by migrants. They not be getting their purses snatched by migrants. You know what I mean? They don't have that kind of element around them, and they got security. Remember they were saying that lady Corey Bush said defund the police, but double her security. She started paying her security almost $100,000, but she said defund the police. So what was the security for the public? You know what I mean? You have to think about these things.
I'm entering Wheeler right now, and you don't see even nobody there right now. All you think is
Let's be clear. Let's be clear about something. Don't fool anybody. We know that the people who control the migration across the border are the cartels. The cartels who extort money, who rape the people that they victimize before they come across here. The cartels are losing money trying to come into the state of Texas now. The cartels have rerouted their routes to cross the border because Texas is the only state that's putting up any resistance, despite the fact that Texas represents more than 60% of the land miles of the border. The overwhelming majority now of people crossing the border are crossing in Arizona and California, two states that are putting up no resistance to illegal immigration. If the United States under President Biden did in Texas, in New Mexico, in California, and Arizona, what we're doing here, you would eliminate illegal immigration overnight.
don't say the border's open.
Would you restate the first part of your question again? To be clear, from the very beginning and to this moment, to have access to the boat ramp and to have access to the razor wire area if anybody's life is in danger. On top of that, however, the area where we are is an area where the federal government was using to further criminal activity. They're involved in violating the federal laws of the United States of America on this land. We will not allow this land to be used for illegal purposes.
Governor, the Senate bill, Priscilla Thompson with NBC News, the Senate is poised to vote on an immigration bill this week. Do you think that could help you?
So I have no idea how to answer your question because I have no idea what's going to be in that Senate bill. And I have no idea if the House would agree with it. So your question actually is filled with unknowns. All I know is this, and that is the open border policies that Joe Biden has allowed can no longer be tolerated. He has the ability, as we speak this very moment, to take action to shut down the border and stop illegal immigration. Joe Biden does not need more legislative authority. He just needs a backbone to step up and do his job and secure the border.
You're standing in front of a lot of armed men and women. You're with us, governors from many states, military vehicles. You talked about invasion. What do you say to people? We've heard this from Republicans and Democrats who are concerned that there's a civil war or some prelude to some kind of armed conflict between Americans. What would you say to people?
It's a false narrative, and that is really nothing more than a narrative. What we are seeking to do, and what we are actually doing, we're actually enforcing the laws of the United States of America. What Americans want, whether it be the border or whether it be carjackings in Washington, D.C., or police officers being beat up in New York City, what Americans want, they want law and order, and they want the laws of our country enforced. All we're doing is enforcing the laws of the United States of America.
Governor, how long will park be under state control?
It's going to stay under control as long as it takes to maintain security and to eliminate crossings. I'll be honest with you. We could relinquish control of it tomorrow if Joe Biden were to step up and do exactly what we're doing here and stop people from crossing the border illegally. We have seen a president and his predecessor do exactly that. Joe Biden has every tool in his toolbox to make sure that he reduces illegal immigration as much as Texas was able to reduce it right here. In the meantime, let me add this. As we speak right now, the Texas National Guard, they're undertaking operations to expand this effort. We're not going to contain ourselves just to this park. We are expanding to further areas to make sure that we will expand our level of deterrence and denial of illegal entry into the United States.
You and for all the other governors here. You guys have, a lot of people have said that this is things like this in an election year just a political stunt by Republicans. What do you guys all say to that?
Say that to the average American. The average American is angry. The number one issue in the United States of America is the broken border and the illegal immigration that Joe Biden has created. We don't have time to wait till November. We got lives on the line every single day. Say that to the parents who have lost a child to deadly fentanyl. There's growing in number across the country. There are lives at risk every single day. It's like every police officer in every city in our great state that understands that they have a daily duty to make sure that their communities are safe, regardless of when elections take place. We as governors have that responsibility to make sure that our states and our country are going to be safe from the illegal immigration crossing.
Governor, I would just remind you too that many of the governors here were here. When was that?
Right,
a year ago. Way before the
Yeah.
campaign started, on the same issue, writing letters to Joe Biden about how to fix the border, executive action that he could take. So this is not a campaign tactic. This is something that this group and the Republican governors have been concerned with for many, many months and years.
Governor, there are Americans living here on the border who say that sovereignty has been lost and that they're walking around in fear. They feel that the federal government has failed them. What about you, governors? Are you going to be able to step up to protect their sovereignty and give them the right to be free citizens here in their own state?
And you're talking about the local residents in this area? Yes. So first of all, I think the local residents around here are angry, and rightfully so, because their area, their neighborhoods, their golf courses, their shopping areas, all have been invaded. But I cannot tell you the number of ranchers and homeowners who live, whether it be here or in Del Rio.
Think about the outrage of the people in Boston. I mean, change the face. No, I'm going to change the face for you. I'm going to show you what the people in Boston is saying. I'm going to stop right here. Y'all can go online and see the rest of what he said from the border.
Start your day with prayer, specifically with me, Jonathan Rumi, the actor who portrays Jesus in The Chosen.
Right now it's 6, an inside look at a community center in Roxbury that's now been transformed into an emergency shelter for migrant families that have been sleeping at the airport. Hundreds of beds now cover the indoor track and soccer fields where neighborhood children usually play. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Wade.
And I'm Lisa Hughes. Dozens of families are set to move into the shelter any moment now. WBZ's Beth Germano is in Roxbury tonight, where the community is torn over this plan.
It's been a quick conversion for the Melnia Cass Recreational Center in Roxbury. Beds and sleeping bags, play spaces, bathrooms, and other necessities, all to help migrant families arriving in large numbers in the state.
It's going to house up to 400 individuals right now.
Governor Healy began discussing the idea a week ago. Moved by the recent plight of families, many now camping out at Logan Airport, and a state shelter system stretched to the limit.
We're here today because we really don't have a choice.
And none of us should stand by while women, children, and families sleep outside or in an airport who look like us.
Shame on Healy! Shame on Will! But the plan has received mixed reviews in the community, since the recreation center is also a vital resource for youth and adult programs.
We sympathize with them. We as a people in our community, we love. but sometimes we love so much that we spite our own selves.
Alternating toe touches. Tony DeRoca with Boston United Track and Cross Country coaches young athletes in a free weekly program here, and now doesn't know where they'll go with a meet set for Sunday.
We have kids who also are impacted negatively, and our program is one that very few stable times of their life.
I've been going here for like 2 years now, and like it's been like a second home to me.
But the decision to make it a temporary home until May 31st for migrant families is called humanitarian, but also difficult by some. And Boston Mayor Michelle Wu acknowledged that today.
This is not the first time that this community has been asked to sacrifice over and over again, and so we'll continue to work with the state and ensure.
Is it any coincidence that she's Chinese?
That all options are on the table.
The governor is pledging that all programs here will find a temporary home. In the meantime, 75 migrants are expected to arrive at some point today, with more over the next couple of days. In Roxbury, I'm Beth Germano, WBZ News.
I'm gonna show you some more what they're talking about in Roxbury. Cause y'all think it's some type of racism or some type of cooning or buffooning or something. I don't know what y'all think. But these are people that want their community back. Hold on 1 minute. I want y'all to see some of the people speaking on it. Y'all think it's just Governor Abbott down at the border. Look at all kind of stuff in it.
Babies in tow, families keeping warm
Look
at
at
the
this, look what's
Immigrant
going on.
Family Services Institute in Mattapan. They have nowhere to spend the night.
We have been sleeping at the airport.
Gabrielle Jean, his pregnant wife Rudlin, and their 3-year-old son Dunlove are on the waiting list for emergency shelter. They were told they can no longer stay at the airport.
We just don't know where we're going to be tonight.
The family's from Haiti. They made their way to the border with Mexico. He's still in shorts and flip-flops.
We were being both housed by a priest in San Antonio, and we were told that Massachusetts might be a place to assist us since we had nowhere else to go.
Advocates arranged for the Jeans and 13 other families to stay in hotel rooms last night. They say an overflow site is desperately needed.
You cannot send those families, not things, families with children 2 months old, under 2 years of age, and pregnant women also to send them on the streets.
The governor has limited the number of families who can stay in emergency shelters. Last night, at the end of formal sessions, lawmakers failed to find compromise on funding for the shelter system.
We cannot let them stay on the cold.
In the meantime, the Jeans say they don't know where they'll go.
We would like a roof to stay, a house to stay. We would also want to be able to work.
Now, lawmakers say they are still trying to work at it. The governor called it critical to fund the emergency shelter system. Right now, there are 48 families on that list, that waiting list.
Earlier this week, at least 13 buses dropped off migrants in several New Jersey towns. Now, local officials there say that they then boarded buses and trains to New York City.
All right, photographer Leroy Press capturing this video showing migrants arriving at Penn Station. Leroy has been documenting the migrant crisis, getting stuff that nobody else gets. He posted on his social media. It's gone viral. He's with us this morning with the perspective on the crisis that he sees. Leroy Press, nice to have you here on Good
Thank
Day
you,
New York.
Rosanna. Thank you, Bianca.
Tell us a little bit who you are, first of all.
So I'm an independent photographer out of New York City, Brooklyn, New York, and I go where places where most photographers don't want to go. I get a lot of great tips, and I go film it. And I'm pretty good at it. I have a lot of sources. I've been doing it for about 3.5 years now, since the vaccine lockdowns and the COVID lockdowns. And I covered everything from protest, politics, migrants. I'm a big crime guy. And now we're back in the migrant cycle with the news, so I'm like the top guy.
Okay, let's look at one of your current viral videos that you captured just recently with the migrants. Can you kind of explain what you saw with this video?
Sure. So with the migrants showing up at Penn Station, it's to avoid Mayor Adams' executive order and for buses coming in for Texas.
How did you know they were migrants?
You can tell they're migrants. They're wearing blankets, and I seen the activists there. And like I said, I got a feel for things, and I know what I'm looking at, and I know what's going on.
What else did you notice when they got to Penn Station?
I've noticed some activists there greeting them. I've noticed PD on the lookout a little bit for what's going on.
Are they giving them money?
The activists are not giving them money. Absolutely not.
The one thing I think we're following some of the money, and you've posted about this on your X profile, is about these NGOs that are giving them money. But they're using that money that's coming from taxpayers' dollars.
Yeah.
When you post about this, you get a lot of pushback.
I do. Look, for my thing is, it's be honest, regardless of what people think. Some people want to hide what's going on. As a reporter, as a photographer, it's my job to show what's going on, not cover it up. Right?
Are these some of the NGOs that maybe we would know of that people don't want to talk about?
There's some Catholic charities. I did break a story where a migrant told me about the Salvation Army paying for his plane ticket and getting him on a plane, and paying for the taxis and paying for certain things. And then we have NGOs that I was told that are lying to migrants at the border, telling them, if you come to New York, you'll have the best life. You'll get a 5-star hotel. You'll find jobs. And that's not really the truth. Yeah. It's not. And again, these migrants are human.
I'm going to show you another one, too. Because y'all think it's just at the border. Y'all think it's just Governor Abbott now. You don't see it's the people.
How to remove objects in your photos in 15 seconds? Let's go. Just drag your finger over any object and boom.
Okay, folks, so Alderman, if you would location. You're gonna be allowed to speak. And is the speaker's, when I spoke with the Deputy Chief of Staff, she informed me that we would have this shelter here at this location, and I strongly object to it, and I object to it now. And I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying that because I want your applause. I'm saying that because we cannot take a resource from our community. I have told the mayor this. I've told the superintendent of our parks this, and I will state it to the top of the roof. We cannot take resources from the Black community, a community invested in. Now, I say this. Those seniors that come to this park know that I come here the fourth Thursday of every month with them. I know of the programming that's in this park, but there's so many other reasons why this park should not, and not just this park, but any park, should not be converted to a migrant shelter. First of all, we deal with security issues. Now, particularly in this area, our police officers have been working tirelessly to help reduce violence in the Amundsen Park area, in the North Austin area. And this, by no way, helps them in their efforts in reducing crime. I say, secondly, I believe in a democracy. I believe in a democratic process that says before you make these decisions need to be brought to the community. Now, I will say this.
There's some out there that say, we want to see the email. I can show you every email I have. You come sit down with me, I will go through every email. But there are no emails with regard to this. I received a phone call Friday that this was going to be a shelter. Now, one other reason that we do not need this as a shelter. We have for months, and even beyond months, we have been telling our youth, if I could please speak, we've been telling our youth not to go downtown, not to gather in mass, not to commit crimes downtown, because we want to provide opportunities for you in your community. Well, this specifically flies in the face of that, and it takes a very valuable resource from our youth. Our seniors have been able to walk across the street and enjoy programming here. It would be extremely difficult for them to walk a mile and a half or even get a mile and a half from here to continue their senior program. So I ask you, and I have never asked this of the community before, I ask you to join me and stand up against allowing this to become a shelter. Now, guys, hold on, stop. I want you to know, I want you to know that I support our mayor. He is our. Allow me to finish my sentence. I support our mayor and what he is tasked with.
In case you don't know, they booing Chicago mayor Brandon Johnson. That's who they booing, as they should.
Our mayor is tasked with over 15,000, providing for the well-being and shelter for over 15,000 people. Guys, I am not going to try to talk over you. I am not going to try to talk over you. But although I support our mayor, I do not support his decision to use this as a park. We cannot use our parks. We cannot use our parks to house migrants. Again, it takes away from the vibrancy of our neighborhoods. And so with that, I ask you to join me. Now, we have not made this into a migrant shelter yet. But if we call our mayor's office, if we can get on our telephones, if we can talk to his deputy mayors, his chief of staff, we can do everything that we can possibly do to make this not a shelter on the Austin community. Speak. Is it? Mr. Glover, you're going to get an opportunity to speak.
No. Turn the mic on. We're tired of hearing politicians. Turn the mic on. Turn the mic on. Good evening, everyone. I'm showing you how disrespectful this is. On the 5 o'clock news, they projected that the migrants would be here by Saturday. Look, welcome to the welcoming city. Well, I got to tell you, only certain areas are welcoming. That's us. They want us. They say they want to use this park, but let me tell you, LaSalle Street, Clark Street, all the office buildings, nobody wants to be in the loop anymore. They all want to move west because of new buildings with better amenities. Those buildings are empty right now with water, heat, and everything. But they don't want the migrants down there. We're not anti-migrants, but this is so disrespectful for them to just sit up here with this crap and we're supposed to listen to it. You know what? If you would had your right mind and see a crowd like this, you would say to yourself, they don't want it. But no, these politicians, they think that they can just do everything. And see, another thing is you all's representative, I can say what I want to say because I take nothing from them. I don't need nothing from them. Okay? They have disrespected us, our community. They're going to tell us and just shove it down our throats. And we're supposed to like it. Yeah, you all are sitting there. And another thing, they do not have a plan. And so many migrants come in, they say, let's take this. Let's take that. Now you see a viable park here that's functioning well in a nice area. Say this was a bad area, they wouldn't be here. Okay? Another thing I want you to understand how we support this park. This park needed air conditioners. You think we went to the park district? No, because we don't need them. We bought them. Supplied this whole park. They needed a stove in the refrigerator. We did it, the Advisory Council. They needed a microwave. We give Christmas parties, and I don't ask these politicians for a dime. And this place is packed. See, they don't like people like me, because I'm not taking their crap. And Brandon Johnson and Mayor and Alderman Terry Farrell, they wear this hat, and it's there. And all this crap about I just got to notice it. Well, if they don't give you that much respect as alderman, you don't need to be alderman. Okay? So don't drink the Kool-Aid. There are ample places in this city that the migrants.
So you see the alderman and the people have spoken. So you think it's just Governor Abbott? You think it's just like a black or white issue? You think it's American racism? Or do you realize that at some point in time we have to realize that this country has to stand together in the face of what we're seeing? Because this is happening all over the world. This is a global effort. This is global. Think about that. Saturday Night Detroit. Keep your head on the swivel. Like, share, and subscribe.